All right, I got this newspaper from September 12th, 2001. It's from the Register Guard, and that's a Eugene, Oregon newspaper. I'm just going to read this article and kind of go over it a little bit. And I'm really tired because I worked all day. I couldn't go out and protest today because I was at work, guys. I actually have a job, so alright, Kabul, Afghanistan. Opposition rebels said their helicopter gunships fired rockets into Kabul airport early Wednesday, hours after the devastating terror attacks in the United States. So, right after 9/11, right after this happens, we have this happening in Afghanistan. We have these fires. We have these bombs, these explosions going off. We also know that there were plans to invade Afghanistan before 9/11. Okay? So let's read the rest of this here. 3 aircraft of the ruling Taliban militia were reportedly destroyed, including a passenger jet of the country's Ariana Airlines, witnesses said. The United States quickly denied any involvement in the violence in Afghanistan, which was which has been shielding Osama bin Laden. So Afghanistan, they've just been shielding Osama bin Laden, a suspected terrorism mastermind linked by some U.S. officials to Tuesday's attacks in New York and Washington. Yesterday, this is September 12th, 2001. They wrote all this out. I mean, it would have taken, if they did an actual investigation, if they weren't just being fed this information, it would still be fucking hard to believe. I mean, even if they weren't fed this information, which they were, they had to have been fed this information. There's no way they could have, they could believe that Osama bin Laden is responsible. Especially when, at the end of the article, look, it says, Afghanistan's hardline Taliban rulers condemned the attacks in the United States and rejected suggestions that Osama bin Laden could be behind them. So not only did they reject that Osama bin Laden did it, but they said that they condemned the attacks. So that's like Trump trying to say, I hate the KKK. I don't like the KKK. I reject the KKK. And the media is like, you love the KKK, don't you? Okay? So you see what's going on here. The media is pointing blame here, and they're basically, look at this. So I'll just keep reading here. So the United States quickly denied any involvement in the violence in Afghanistan, which has been shielding Osama bin Laden, a suspected terrorism mastermind, also known as Tim Osmond, a CIA asset. Oh wait, it doesn't say that, but Osama bin Laden really was a CIA asset, guys. He really was. He was just CIA as you can get. A suspected terrorism mastermind linked to some... In no way is the United States government connected to those explosions. Says who? Says Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld. But didn't Donald Rumsfeld, the day before this came... Well, actually, it was September 9th, 2001. Donald Rumsfeld said that we're just missing $2.3 trillion. It's gone. We just don't know where it is. It's gone. $2.3 trillion. And we were worried. Look, there's a report in here. I don't want to turn to it right now, but there's a report in here about the Federal Reserve saying that they're worried about economic strife from the terror attacks. They should be worried about Donald Rumsfeld saying that we're just missing $1.2 trillion. I mean, and that the Federal Reserve back then, right after 9/11, said that we're going to see a recession if we don't lower interest rates, if we don't just pump the economy filled, with all these Federal Reserve notes, it's just all going to go to hell and we're going to see a big recession. And, what's inevitable when you have a central bank that constantly is printing money out of thin air, that is charging interest on its own money? so that it can keep the money afloat because they know it's just worthless paper. The Federal Reserve shareholders that own the Federal Reserve stock that they're not allowed to sell to anybody, by the way. They're just the permanent shareholders. But my point is that even today we're talking about the same thing with the economy, and there's no terror attacks. The dollar's just as bad as it was before 9/11. And it's going to continue to be that way because the Federal Reserve is the shadow government. But let me just read this, because I'm just going to keep getting thrown off into these tangents here. So Donald Rumsfeld says, in no way is the United States government connected to those explosions. Okay. And, we just believe Donald Rumsfeld. Opposition soldiers facing off against the Taliban troops barely 30 miles north of the capital originally denied the attack, but later took responsibility. Oh, shit! So, the people that they're blaming this on originally said we didn't do it. Blast, shake Afghanistan, rebels claim responsibility. It should say after they said that they didn't do it. That's how the article should read. That's how the headline should read. They just put it down here. So, this pisses me off. This is so obvious that our military went into Afghanistan hours after 9/11, guys. Hours after 9/11. They had plans to go. They had troops lined up already to go in there, guys. Believe me on that. Don't just believe me, but go research what I'm saying here. All right, so opposition soldiers facing off, blah, blah. Our helicopters attacked the airport, said Wasudian Salik, who was contacted by satellite telephone at the front line north of Kabul. Salik said the attack was in retaliation for relentless bombing raids by Taliban jet fighters on opposition territory. It was also believed that the opposition wanted to create uncertainty in the capital to fuel fears of a U.S. retaliatory strike for their terrorist attacks, and a U.S. official said it appeared to be a response to Sunday's attack on rebel General Ahmed Shah Massoud, which at the end of the article says that attack happened on Sunday. Yet they came out, okay, the rebels come and attack you guys Wednesday at Kabul in your main base. You're literally going to tell us that the rebels are going to attack the capital of Afghanistan the hours, not even a day after, hours after 9/11. That they didn't just, why didn't they attack Kabul, that Sunday or even Monday? Or even Tuesday, Here, this says that they attacked Wednesday. And it's just, supposedly, allegedly, I think that the United States attacked, hours after. So, the explosions began in Kabul around 2:30 a.m. and came in rapid succession, seconds apart, making buildings shudder. So, the Afghanistan military is making buildings shudder in Afghanistan. Or, I'm sorry, the rebels are making buildings shudder. And it's like, I just don't believe that they have that much firepower. The rebels? Really? They're going to make all the buildings shudder. Okay, let me read on. As a nighttime curfew came to an end this morning, Taliban soldiers with Kalashnikov rifles were manning checkpoints, searching vehicles and barking orders at passengers to get out. At one checkpoint, a Taliban soldier said a helicopter attacked near the airport. Less than a mile from the combined military and civilian airport, Taliban soldiers had blocked the road, turning cars away. They had refused to speak and waved the rifles, ordering vehicles to turn around. It was the airport that was attacked. A helicopter came in and dropped its rockets, said Abdul Jabbar, an elderly man walking along the dusty road near the airport. This all doesn't matter, right? So you have a witness and all this stuff, and listen to him say this. At first, we were worried that this was an attack by America. So he thought hey, this is America right away. This is way too powerful to be someone else. Oh, and then he's like, but then I thought it was stupid to worry. What? Our life is so bad. What difference does it make? That's insane. Oh, well, America has big plans for you, man. What difference does it make? How about trillions of dollars every year from heroin, from poppy plants? Okay, so Jabbar was probably paid off to say what he said, guys. A day laborer who leaves his home each morning before sunrise to look for work. What's he looking for every day? Work, for money. He's broke. He needs somebody to pay him off to lie in an article, just like this. Rockets also reportedly landed in the northern suburb of Kahana, hitting the Taliban depot. This is hilarious. Listen to this. Giant plumes of black smoke billowed skywards. A Taliban military division is nearby. Officials at the airport could not be reached from the Taliban's headquarters in southern Kandahar. Abdul Haimumain, a spokesperson for the Islamic militia, blamed the explosions on a fire at the ammunition depot. So it's just a fire. He did not say how the depot caught fire, but denied that there was an attack on the capital. That's amazing. There was an explosion in the ammunition depot, and our aircraft were flown to a safe place, creating a misunderstanding that there had been an attack. Okay? We deny that there was any attack on Kabul, he said. However, it was unclear from his statements why it was necessary to move the aircraft to safety. Rebels battling Afghanistan's Taliban religious government denied involvement and indicated that the United States might be responsible. All right, this is what I think. I think the United States bombed Afghanistan hours after 9/11. Okay, this is breaking. Okay, I did not know this. This is from September 12th, 2001, from a newspaper article I've never really looked at before. We didn't fire any rockets into Kabul, the spokesman Bismillah Khan told the Associated Press by satellite telephone from Galbahar, several miles behind opposition lines. We have been hearing that the United States of America will attack, he said. Afghanistan's hardline Taliban rulers condemned the attacks in the United States and rejected suggestions that Osama bin Laden could be behind them. Conflicting reports persisted. Okay, Tuesday over whether Massoud, the leader of the northern-based opposition of the Taliban rule, survived by suicide bombing attack on Sunday. So that's supposedly why the rebels went and bombed Kabul in the first place, is because their rebel leader, Massoud, was supposedly killed, but they don't know whether or not he survived. So we don't even know if he was alive to even make those orders, guys. And they're saying, oh yeah. And then right here, so how come it says the blast shake Afghanistan, rebels claim responsibility, when then it says right here, rebels battling Afghanistan Taliban religious government denied involvement and indicated that the United States might be responsible. So, I mean, this is just amazing. So it turns out, from my research just now, from just looking at this, that the United States bombed Afghanistan hours after 9/11. Hours. We already know that we had troops lined up to go. We already know the Project for a New American Century, where they talked about, needing a Pearl Harbor style attack in order to have the excuse to go and invade the Middle East and take over Syria, Libya. I could name off, I forget all the countries, but basically every country we're in war with right now. Iran was at the end of the list. And so I got to give credit where credit's due with John Bolton and Trump getting rid of John Bolton, whatever. Great job, Trump, but what about the shadow government? What about the Federal Reserve? You know? I mean, nothing's going to change unless you get rid of the Federal Reserve. So I'll just leave it there. Occupy the Federal Reserve.